Hey guys, like I said, I am back for my second video tonight. I will be previewing the second Saturday wild card matchup when the New England Patriots, they are traveling up to Buffalo to face those Bills for the third time this season. Now, for those that don't know, so you can be prepared, that game is going to start at 8:15 p.m. Eastern Time. So that'll be the late night game on Saturday for people to have some drinks and watch and see these two divisional rivals battle it out and see who has the claim for bragging rights, because it's the most important third matchup that you can get when the playoffs are on the line and your season is on the line. So I'm definitely excited for this. We'll see if it's a defensive matchup this time around. We'll see. It kind of fluctuated in those two earlier matchups. As a reminder for everybody, the Patriots won the first matchup this season. That was that super windy game in Buffalo when Mac Jones, I think he threw it 2 or 3 times. The Patriots squeezed out that victory on the road, 14-10. That game happened back on December 6th, and then they just met a few weeks ago on December 26th in the rematch. That game was in New England. The Bills pretty much had their way with New England that day. They won 33-21. Josh Allen has been ever since that loss to the Patriots and the first time. Josh Allen has literally put his team on his back and helped push them into the postseason and able to host a playoff game this weekend. Now, before I get into these matchups between the offenses and defenses, taking a quick look at the injury report. For those that have been following along with my preview videos throughout the season, remember how I always say the Patriots, I swear they're playing games with the injury reports because they list 10 plus people on their injury report every single week. They're not stopping come playoff time like these other teams. So these 13 players are listed as questionable for New England for Saturday, and they're probably going to all be active just like they are every single week. Am I the only one that's noticing this? I mean, I'm sure I'm not, but it's clearly a mind game, I think Bill's playing with these people. Anyways, all these guys are questionable. David Andrews with a shoulder, Christian Barmore with a knee, Cody Davis with a wrist, Kyle Duggar with a hand, Nick Folk with a knee, Lawrence Guy with a shoulder, Damian Harris with a hamstring, Dante Hightower with a knee, Brandon King with a toe, Jacoby Myers with a thigh, Adrian Phillips with a knee, Isaiah Wynn with a hip and ankle, and Jamie Collins Sr. with an ankle. And listen, like if some of these guys end up missing, it would obviously have an impact in the game, but I've seen this too many times throughout the season for me to even lean into one of these guys missing, because I think if a Dante Hightower or Damian Harris or a Kyle Duggar, or an Isaiah Wynn, if one of those guys that are really important for their team were to miss the game, I think it would be reported by now. So I'm assuming everybody that I just named off, they're gonna play. It's playoff football. Everybody plays, even if they're banged up, less than 100%. And speaking of 100%. The Bills are perfect heading into, well, I won't say perfect. There's a guy, important guy like Tre'Davious White that's on IR, but they have no guys with injury designations. According to the Buffalo, it's all systems go. There is no questions if anybody's going to miss this matchup on Saturday night. So where I'm going to start here is I am going to start with the New England offense, taking a look at their stats, and I'll take a look at the Buffalo Bills stats, just like I did in my first preview video for you guys. So taking a look at the New England offense, they're a team that's in terms of they're kind of like a middle of the pack offense that leans more into the run. When you take a look at it, as far as yards per game, they're averaging 353.4 yards per game, which places them exactly at 15th. So right around that middle mark in terms of broad press perspective across the league. But like I said, they lean into their rushing attack, averaging 126.5 yards a game. That's 8th in the NFL, so it's a top 10 rushing attack that they're bringing into the postseason. Now, their passing offense, it is a top half passing attack too, averaging 226.9 yards a game, which ranks 14th in the NFL. And this team on offense, they put up points. That's the thing. That's why they've won so many games this year, is because, even though they're kind of like a middle of the pack offense that leans heavily into the run, they're averaging 27.2 points a game. That places them 6th best in the NFL. So they can put up some points if they need to. Now, taking a look at the Bills' defense, though, It's basically, if you look at the numbers, it's arguably the best defense in the league. And what's crazy is I saw this stat because Jordan Poyer was on the Pat McAfee show today, and they pulled up a stat. I didn't realize this. The Bills are like the first. Is it the first team in history, or since like 1999? I should have wrote it down for you guys. That's my apologies. But either way, they are the top ranked defense, and they have nobody from their defense going to the Pro Bowl, which is kind of insane because they have like the best safety tandem in the league. But yeah, taking a look at the numbers really quick. Number one defense in terms of yards per game, 272.8. That's all they're giving up. Now, teams can somewhat rush the ball against them, as we've seen the Patriots have done it. We saw Jonathan Taylor do it earlier in the year. They give up 109.8 yards per game, which is tied for 13th in the league. So they're still a top half rushing defense in terms of like all 32 teams. But then when you look at their passing defense, that is their strength, but they are missing their best cornerback, who went on IR a long time ago, early about I think November, when he got placed on IR. But they still only gave up 163 yards in the air, which is the best in the league. And then their points per game, right? Only give up 17 points a game, and that's the best in the league. So this is like a defense where they like guys like Dane Jackson and Levi Wallace has stepped up in Tre'Davious White's absence at the cornerback position, and they have still kind of kept themselves afloat, and they are still one of the best, if not the best, defense in the NFL, because Sean McDermott's one of the best defensive minds. Now, obviously, you got Sean McDermott's mind going against Josh McDaniels and Bill Belichick's combination of their offense, and they're going to try to do what worked for them when they went up to Buffalo. Now, I saw the weather report; it's supposed to be like -1, but I did not see anything about any wind. So, despite it's going to be a cold matchup, I don't think we're going to see that to throw Mac Jones' performance. And then, Mac Jones has kind of hit a kind of a rookie wall too over the last part of the month. I mean, he had that rough game this past Sunday down in Miami, but I mean, even Tom Brady used to have bad games in Miami. I don't know if we can hold that against Mac quite yet, but he has had his struggles to end the season. So it's going to be interesting to see how Mac will perform in his first game. Now, I expect the Patriots are going to come up with lean on their strengths, right? They're going to try to come out and demand the control of the trenches with their offensive line against that defensive front of Buffalo. They're going to lean into Damian Harris. They're going to lean into Ramondre Stevenson. And they're going to see if that formula that worked for them in the first matchup can come to play in this, and see if they can run down the ball down their throat. And then what they can do is they can get Mac in those third and 2 to 3rd and 5 situations where they have the option to lean into the run if it's being effective, or they can, Mac's very effective in that short to intermediate route with his timing and his ability to read defenses pre-snap and all that. It's when they can. What Buffalo needs to do is they need to win those first 2 downs and get Mac into like those 3rd and 7 to 3rd and 10 type of plays. And then that's where you can, guys like Jerry Hughes and Gregory Rousseau, Ed Oliver in the middle, that's when they can try to get that early pressure on Mac, force him into those early decisions. And that's when you can maybe get those potential interceptions, tip balls, stuff like that. And even then, if he's got to sit in that pocket for a while, him pushing down the ball down the field, he can definitely do it. But the lack of success happens when Mac starts to get to that 15 to 20 plus throws, when he has to start leaning into that. So that should be the goal of Buffalo's defense. And then, like I said, the goal of the New England offense should be run the ball, get those 4 to 5 yards of carry, and then getting Mac in those like really 3rd and short situations to can keep drives alive. Again, they can put up points, but they're going against a defense that doesn't allow many points. Even in their win, now obviously the weather had played a big factor in that, but even in their win, they only put up 14 points against Buffalo, and then in their loss, they only put up 21 points. So that's about the average, right? The 17. So I'm kind of looking at the New England. I mean, it's postseason football, so I know Bill Belichick's going to have his team to play. So I do think they're going to get that 2 to 3 touchdown range, but I just wonder if that's going to be enough with how the Buffalo offense is playing right now. So speaking of that, why don't I just go ahead and flip that around and take a look at the Buffalo offense really quick and their numbers. So Buffalo's offense, they in terms of yards, they're a top 10 offense in terms of every single stat, as you guys can see. Their total yards per game, they average 381.9 yards a game. That's fifth in the NFL. Surprisingly, I didn't realize how good their rushing attack has been because it's been all Josh Allen, and Devin Singletary has really come along over the last few weeks for that offense. But this season, they average as a unit 129.9 yards a game. That's sixth in the NFL. And then their passing attack, Josh has put together, he's had some struggles with his interceptions, but he's still been able to put up the ball through the air. They average 252 yards a game, which is ninth in the NFL. And then they put up a lot of points as well. They average 28.4 points per game, which is third in the NFL. So this is an offense that can move the ball on the ground. This is an offense that can move the ball in the air. It's just their typical moving the ball on the ground is not your your typical like ground and pound type of offense, right? And then taking a look at the New England defense, though, they're pretty strong, right? And against the pass as a whole, but they do struggle against their run. So taking a look at New England's defense, they're a top 5 defense in terms of yards per game. They only give up 310.8 yards a game, which is fourth in the NFL. But teams have been able to run the ball against New England. They give up 123.7 yards a game. That's 22nd in the NFL. That's a bottom half of the league. So if Josh Allen and Devin Singletary can kind of use the ground game and kind of you attack that weakness, then what that can do is that's going to get them in third and short situations, just like I talked about how Mac would be. And the great thing with Josh Allen is he can quarterback sneak it. They can run read option. They can do the RPO type of plays where he can fake off a run. You can get Dawson Knox in the flat and get those easy first downs. And you don't have to have Josh play hero ball where he's running all over the place. Now, which is great. One of his talents is he can run all over the place and he can deliver the ball with a guy in his face right on the money because of how strong his arm is. But you don't want to have to depend on that. And then their passing defense is really good, only giving up 187.1. They're second right behind Buffalo. Same thing with points per game, only give up 17.8 points per game. And like I mentioned, it was more of a weather factor in that first matchup. The Buffalo only scored 10 points in that first matchup. But Tyler Bass, I believe, missed I know he missed one field goal. I think he maybe missed 2, but that still would have made a big difference. But then they dropped 33 on them in New England during that last matchup. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. I think what they're going to do is they're going to repeat, just like how I think New England's going to try to repeat that formula that won them the game the first time. Buffalo's going to try to do what they did a few weeks ago when they pretty much had their way with New England. Now, obviously, J.C. Jackson, that's the guy to watch on New England's defense because that guy's a ball hawk. He can get interceptions just like out of nowhere and completely flip this game upside down for Buffalo. So Josh does have to be aware of that anytime he targets J.C. Jackson. But it obviously depends on who J.C. Jackson's on because if it's Stephon Diggs, I believe Stephon Diggs is a top 5 wide receiver in this league. And, obviously there's cornerbacks in this league that do kind of get you worried. But in my opinion, sometimes you got to trust your guy, right? And you got to target him no matter who's on him. So I think Stephon's going to get his. But this is going to be a game where, Bill Belichick, with his great defensive mind, always tries to take out the strengths of an offense. So he's going to try to take away Stephon Diggs. So he's going to see a lot of bracket coverage, a lot of double teams. So it's going to be guys like, Gabriel Davis, Emmanuel Sanders, Cole Beasley, Dawson Knox. Those guys in the passing attack, one of them needs to have a huge day. They don't, even if it kind of spreads the wealth, those are the guys who are going to have to probably pick up the slack. I want to say slack, that's a bad word because I think Stephon's obviously going to do everything he can do in his power. I just think Bill might try to completely take that away and put it on the others. So again, that's why they can lean on the rushing attack, especially with Josh's legs, and then try to see if any of those other role players can step up and have a huge game. Like for some reason, I think Gabriel Davis, he's going to be the guy that needs to step up, maybe kind of get himself close to 100 yards and a touchdown. And I think that can help make the difference in this offense staying on the field more times than not. And obviously, too, the New England defensive front needs to be dominant. They need to get pressure on Josh. They need to get to him early and try to force those moments where Josh is kind of like tries to do too much, tries to squeeze a ball into a too tight of a window, which results in those interceptions. And sometimes he can kind of scramble and get flustered, which kind of can lead to those fumbles as well too. So I think New England's going to try to do that. But I do think Josh. I honestly, I know he threw those 3 interceptions in that game a couple weeks ago, but I still think Josh is putting this team on his back, and I really like how he's playing ball right now. And I think that Buffalo defense is going to step up and really keep that New England offense in check. I think eventually in the fourth quarter, there's going to be a play that breaks for Buffalo's way, and they're going to get a big deep shot at some point, and that's going to help them kind of get that separation to go close out the win and get the win on Saturday night. So I think Buffalo's going to win this game. I think they end up winning like a 27 to 21. I like that score. A 27 to 21 win in Buffalo to advance in the playoffs and get the win over their divisional rival in New England. So yeah, that is my last video you guys will be getting from me today on Thursday night. So to kind of run over my plan for you guys again. So tomorrow night, after I get home from work and get all settled in, I plan on doing all 3 preview videos for the Sunday game. So that'll be the Bucks and Eagles game. That'll be the Cowboys 49ers game and the Steelers and Chiefs game. And then Saturday morning, I'll be waking up and I'll record the Monday game preview to get that out for you between the Cardinals and Rams. But as always, if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button. If this is your first time watching my video, or you've been watching me, but you just noticed you have not subscribed to my channel, please hit that subscribe button. I want to start getting that number up here in 2022. And then obviously that can help you keep up with all my preview videos that I'm going to be doing throughout the playoffs. And then I do have some draft content I'll be creating in the coming months as well. And then possibly some off-season related content. I'm not 100% sure. I'm going to let you guys know as it goes, but 100% I'm going to be getting my scouting started here shortly. So yeah. Stay tuned for that type of stuff. Other than that, I'm going to get out of here to get this edited and uploaded for you guys. And then you guys will see me tomorrow when I produce 3 different Wildcard Weekend preview videos. So I'll see you guys then. Peace out and enjoy the rest of your Thursday if you're watching this. Otherwise, enjoy your weekend if you're watching this on a Friday or Saturday.